And welcome to this entertainment answer. This time around talking about The Creator. The Creator's now in theaters. The early reviews of this film was greatest film ever made. Must see it on the biggest screen possible. And understand, people will say whatever they need to get their name and quote on a poster, but this is not the greatest film ever made. I do say that see it on the biggest screen possible. If you see it in the theater, it does look amazing as far as a sci-fi film goes, but that's about as far as it gets. If you've read my review when it came out, you know that I was very upset with the film and the fact that it did look sci-fi-y, but you strip down all the armor, take all the sci-fi off of it, and you have nothing left. There's nothing to geek out on. The story's not good. There's no characters to really root for. There's nothing in this to make you, moved or just on your edge of your seat or wanting something to succeed. It's just not. It's just, again, it's a great sci-fi film. And other than that, not much else. It's directed and created by Gareth Edwards. Now, I like Gareth Edwards. I mean, it's obvious. You can see it back there. There's a Rogue One poster up there right behind me. Gareth Edwards did the Rogue One film and did a great job with Rogue One. It's probably one of the better prequel films in the Star Wars universe. So well done. The story, the characters, everything about it. He hadn't planned on making another film anytime soon, but he was on vacation. If you've listened to any interviews with him, he says he was on vacation. They were driving. He saw this abandoned building out in the middle of this field. Said, I wonder what they make in there. And his head started turning and said, what if they make robots? And what if the robots did this? And what if this happened? And then that just escalated to what we get. The premise of the film being that there was apocalyptic thing, robots, kind of like iRobot, where robots were there. They were helping us. They were such a very important part of our world. AI had just really just taken off, and not so much sci-fi. It's almost not science nonfiction now in our world. But the robots then let off a nuclear bomb in LA, killed millions. So the US is like, no more AI, no more robots. And so there's a country over in what is now Europe and Asia that has merged. They're still very AI robot friendly, still manufacturing them. And the US gets this wind that they're creating this ultimate AI weapon. So they want to go over there, find it, and destroy it. So then enter one character, the main character of the film, played by John David Washington. And I love John David Washington. J.D. Washington's one of my favorite actors in the moment. So good at what he does. He's not given a lot here to root for, but he's ex-military. He was undercover with the AI. Things went bad. No spoiler alerts, but some things happened. Now he doesn't want any part of it, but they elicit his help, bring in some things from his past and say, I think you might want to help us. And so he does. He finds out, as you've seen from the trailers, of course, he finds out that the weapon is actually a child, but it's not a child. It's an AI robot with a child's face. So, everybody's like, oh, the weapon is a child. It's not a child. It's not a human. It's a toaster with a face on it. I hate to be so blunt, but that's what really upset me about the film is that they try to get you to just very much get into this whole AI robots being free and having rights and it's just not. They're not humans and they're not puppies. They're not animals. Animal rights is very important. Human rights is above all of anything. I'm just not there with Android rights yet. It's literally like if I have this laptop that I'm recording on and all of a sudden it tries to kill me in my sleep, I'm going to destroy it. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, my laptop had a bad day. It's not really bad. It's like, no, we have to get a handle on these things. So anyway, the premise of the film being that, even the little robot, the young weapon robot is like, I just want all robots to be free. What you're just regurgitating what was downloaded into your circuitry. You don't even know what freedom means. You only know what freedom means because it's been injected into your whatever's uploaded into you. So they could have uploaded something that said freedom's horrible and you wouldn't want to be free. So anyway, I get on a tangent with this film only because it is so just dumb. I'm just going to just dumb it down to one word, dumb. And again, the premise of the film, and you got to root for these people. You got to want John David Washington to get what he needs. And you do a little bit. You understand his pain. I will give it that. You do understand his pain and you feel for him a little bit there. But what happens in the film and everything that takes place in the film doesn't really put a bandage on that at all. The things I liked about Rogue One, I also like about The Creator, the way it looks. As I mentioned at the top of the review, it's an amazing looking film. Yes, see it on the biggest screen possible if you bother seeing it. because it looks amazing. Everything now, Sci-Fi is set in a post-apocalyptic world, which again, I know that because of the world we live in, which is so, I mean, everything technology is so cool. I mean, we're living in the stuff that was science fiction in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So those movies were easy to make. Now you try to make a sci-fi film, and it's like, well, what do? We're already living in a science fiction world as it is with all of our gadgetry. So it's kind of hard. I get it. So everything's set post-apocalyptic. It's always doom and gloom and all the world's coming to an end. What are we going to do? And so that's the world that it's set in. But it looks cool. It's got some really good machinery, big ships, warships, the robots. But, you know, everything is kind of like District 9 looking in a way. But again, where it loses it for me is the story. I just couldn't get behind it. There was nothing to root for. So if you want to just go for the fluff and the imagery of it, go. But, you know, don't expect to walk out with all these feels for anything. And, you know, in fact, you might walk out a little bit manipulated, thinking, what was I supposed to be rooting for? I don't get it. You're trying to push something on me that's just not, it's not in our world. So again, you put some of your favorite actors and you call them robots or AI, and then you're supposed to just feel for them. And it just doesn't work at all. Now, I know what you're saying is like, but man, we love C-3PO. We love R2-D2. We love Data from Star Trek. We love all of these, you know, sci-fi, you know, Ex Machina. I mean, I even did a show where of the AI I would actually save. You can check that out on YouTube if you want. And, you know, of all the AI I would save, and I get it. But again, we're not talking about saving it just because it has rights. I'm just saying because they're cool. I mean, C-3PO is cool. I teared up a little bit when they had to shut C-3PO down and reboot him because they had to reboot his system so that he could read the dark language of the Sith. And you didn't know if he's going to remember anything anymore. Yeah, I was a little teary-eyed. I'm not going to lie. But again, it's because of the franchise of Star Wars and just C-3PO and R2-D2 and what they meant growing up, not in the real world, not from the context of what this film tries to portray. We're not talking about a character that is so iconic and so loved, you don't want to see anything happen to it. That's different than what they're trying to convey in this movie. So anyway, The Creator's out. If you want to see it, check it out. It's got some sci-fi violence in it. You can wait and stream it at home. To be honest, because the story is so lacking and the effects are so great, I'm not sure if it's going to hit as well at home, even on a nice theater system, because you won't have the story. All you'll have is the imagery, and the imagery now is downplayed a little bit. So take that as you will. Some people say they love it. Greatest film ever made. Whatever. It's not. So again, check out everything we do at theentertainmentanswer.com. Like, follow, subscribe, check us out, follow, and comment below if I'm off base, if I'm just totally missed it on this one and you love this film, explain below. I love reading the comments, good and bad. And we'll be back next time on The Entertainment Answer.